90-Day Fiancé, 90-Day Hunt for Love's Tim Malcolm says failed TV relationships added fuel to sexuality rumors. To be honest with you, it's kind of concerning, isn't it, how this is still a conversation? I mean, Tim has come out multiple times to make it abundantly clear that he's a straight man but has a very low sex drive. And also, for him to even have one, from what I remember, he needs to actually build a connection with someone before it even gets to that. Now, of course, in myself in particular here, I have speculated, I believe, on a live stream that I believe that given that Tim is adamant that he's not gay, therefore it's important that we believe him. So therefore, I think that his sex drive is probably due to having a low test, which I remember Veronica did touch on in the last time we did see Tim and Veronica on the same season, which was the Single Life, where Veronica was in a relationship with Jamal, and Tim and Jamal wasn't exactly on the best of terms. Also with the involvement of Louise herself in particular, but nonetheless, though, due to him low test, now I do understand that when a man has a low testosterone levels, his enthusiasm is quite low. His mental health can also be impacted, and also his sex drive can pretty much be nothing but flat. Which is why doctors do recommend that you do consider something like TRT, which I believe is testosterone recovery therapy, which is something that Tim could easily opt for potentially if he wanted to, and maybe that's something that could change the dynamic of how people see him in terms of how we see him interact with women. Obviously, moving forward on the show itself in particular. Now, again, just wanted to put it out there that maybe TRT is what he's actually missing, and maybe that's something he can look into if he hasn't already. But nonetheless, the Tim Malcolm has come out to speak on his sexuality rumors once again. But this time, he has said it a bit more differently. This time, he says that it is the TV relationships that are probably added to the fact that people think his sexuality is not straight and he is potentially gay. So let's see what he's had to say. He says here that 90-Day star Tim Malcolm is aware of the rumors surrounding sexuality and exclusively tells In Touch that his past relationship struggles have only intensified the speculation. I mean, to be honest with you, I wouldn't say it's because those relationships have been failed, because come on, this is 90-Day. A lot of people come on the show on a recurring basis and have plenty of failed relationships. You know what I mean? My apologies. From my understanding, people have always had speculation purely because of the way he's always reluctant to want to be physical with the women straight away. He's somebody that likes to take his time, so much to the point where a lot of people look at it thinking, I don't understand why. Especially given the fact that each time he's been on the show, he's been on it with two very attractive women, which I guess for most men wouldn't even hesitate if those women were trying to kiss us or trying to be sexual with us, but for him, he says no. So, that is pretty much what it comes down to, his actions, not necessarily because they're failed relationships. Because if it was due to failed relationships, then that means everyone on the show must not like the sex that they're with, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, though, he's come out to say that, so the two relationships that people have seen me in, I hate that things brought out the way they did. Tim says at US Weekly celebration party for the new show, it just adds more fuel to the fire. People always debated my sexuality. Again, for me, definitely was never because of having a failed relationship, because that is the premise of 90 Fiancé for a lot of couples. It's just the way he carries himself around these women that brought up that question. But also continues by saying Tim made his introduction to the TLC franchise on season 3 of 90-Day Fiancé before the 90 days in 2019, alongside ex-girlfriend Jeniffer, who also appears to be in this new show up and coming called 90-Day Hunt for Love. Okay, folks. But to be fair with you, I've come across men who have low test levels, to be fair with you, and it doesn't necessarily stop them wanting to be around women, nor does it stop them necessarily to want the desire to be physical women. It just stops them, it just makes it very hard for them to have the energy levels to actually perform, which therefore has become frustrating for them. So that's how I know about the TRT thing, because I believe, just to be fair, the guy that I go to for my injuries, to be fair with you, he recently just went on TRT and he spoke about the benefits of being on it. He said obviously his hormone levels are so much more higher. His mental health is absolutely booming. His appetite is better than before. So now he's obviously eating a whole lot more than before. It's something that he's definitely noticed to be a big change in himself. But even before that, he still wanted to be around women. You know what I mean? He still wanted to try and mingle. It's just that coming to that last sort of straw was a bit of a challenge due to the low energy levels. You know what I mean? Which is a sad part. And to be fair, thinking about it, Tim is a man that is quite skinny, to be fair. So Given the fact that Veronica said that he's got low test levels, could also explain the man's build and why he is so slim. But then again, at the same time, maybe he's slim because that's just where he likes to be. But again, there are certain things that are identifying that maybe this man would benefit on going that. But nonetheless, though, it continues here by saying that after the split, the North Carolina native continued to search for love on a season 4 of 90 Day The Single Life in 2024, where he met Colombian beauty Louisa, okay, at a speed dating event. Unfortunately, the romance quickly fizzled out, and Louisa herself questioned Tim's sexuality, citing a lack of intimacy in her relationship. Now, of course, obviously, Louisa is a very attractive woman, so I can imagine for her, she's not used to being around men who would turn her down. So I guess for her, just for her own pride and just for her to feel good about herself, she could only assume that Tim must be gay, because in her eyes, she probably thought there's no way this man would not want me. Which, listen, to be fair with you, sometimes, a woman's ego can be hurt if a man doesn't want her, if she's used to men wanting her. So, to be fair, that's probably one of the reasons behind that. But at the same time, we did have an interview with Louisa on this channel where she did have her say regarding her thoughts on her relationship with Tim, and also regarding his sexuality as well. So if you haven't seen that interview that I did with her, it was last year at some point, please do obviously, find a way to watch it, and then obviously you can get insight on her side of the story. Not necessarily on this side of the story, but just her experiences with Tim and obviously how she felt. Nonetheless, though, we continue here where it says they see me with these beautiful women and they're like, "What's wrong with you?" He says. But I still stand by that. If the chemistry is not there at my at my age now, which I'm turning 45 in 3 weeks, I don't need to take it to the physical level if it's not gonna work. Which, to be fair, respectfully, it is a fair point. End of the day, if Tim feels that being physical with someone without knowing whether or not the relationship is going in the right direction, something that he doesn't want to do, that is fine. That is a very respectful thing to do, to be honest, because not many people would want to go down that route. So I respect that, and also I guess with age, it shows a certain level of maturity. Him saying that definitely doesn't say that he's therefore gay. It just means that he understands his own priorities and he understands obviously what he wants. But either way, it continues by saying the TLC personality says he was younger at sorry the PLC personality says when he was younger he had time to see how things play out if he saw some red flags, but now he feels that he doesn't have 2 years to throw away on somebody, which is fair. I'm not a guy to just look for numbers, like just to add up my body count. He emphasizes, and unfortunately, we have not seen someone yet with me that that I had very good chemistry with. I mean, to be fair, that's questionable because we've seen him and Veronica definitely have their chemistry, but obviously their relationship was already, completely bedded by the time Tim appeared on the show. So it's a shame though, because it would have been interesting to see Tim's relationship with Veronica before he became single, and obviously pursued a relationship with Jennifer, and let alone Louise as well. So to be fair, I feel like if we had seen him in a relationship with Veronica, because I'm assuming them two had a healthy relationship for many years and up until they broke up, it would have been interesting to see that. Therefore, we could have seen a different dynamic of Tim, and therefore people's thoughts maybe would have been different. But nonetheless, though, it continues here by saying that as for the future, Tim hopes to get remarried someday, as he usually someone that tends to be in a long-term relationships, which is absolutely respectful. He's probably a Libra, to be honest with you. My first relationship was 10 years ago. I raised 2 kids with her. And then I met Veronica Rodriguez. We were engaged for 7 years. He explains Veronica and I split in 2015. So I've been kind of single for 10 years now, and I've always wanted to be married and have children. I mean, at this stage, I still think marriage obviously is attainable. The children thing is getting closer to the line. I mean, to be honest with you, like, you're telling me this guy's been 2 relationships back to back with 2 women who have had kids. Interesting stuff. I wasn't aware of the first relationship before Veronica. To be fair, I thought Veronica was the only one he was with that involved children, but obviously he was with someone else before that. But I will say this though: if Tim has any chance of trying to find someone to be with, he's gonna have to potentially, kind of come out of his comfort zone and maybe have to, actually do things maybe how a woman wants. So if he meets a woman that he's into, he does want to get to know, but she wants to move a bit faster with the intimacy part. I do feel like sometimes he may have to sacrifice that bit of himself, because intimacy is something that a lot of people forget can always play a big factor in deciding whether or not you want to be with someone or not. Because sometimes in life you can get to know someone for a certain amount of time without no intimacy, But then all of a sudden, once the intimacy comes, if the intimacy doesn't make you feel how that person made you feel on a personal level, then you end up realizing that this person wasn't for you. So even though Tim has his ways of going about things, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to guarantee him the results that he's looking for. Because again, a physical relationship comes hand in hand with a mental relationship. So really and truly, it should be looking to have the balance of them both, from the get go, rather than trying to focus on one and then waiting for the other. Because boy, there's been many people that have not worked out after they waited a long time for intimacy and they realized that the chemistry actually wasn't anything, and then it's been a waste, and therefore it's been a waste of 2 years of getting to know each other on a personality level. Do you see what I'm saying? So while he's talking about wasting 2 years of sleeping with someone, it's the same as wasting 2 years of talking to someone and nothing coming of it. Do you see what I'm saying? And let's not get it twisted. Sometimes if you spend a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year talking to someone without intimacy, technically speaking, it's the same as just a friend zone type situation. To be honest with you, isn't it? But again, it depends on how you want to look at it. But nonetheless, the continues by saying Tim has acknowledged the rumors surrounding his sexuality over the years. The TLC personality directly addressed the rumors regarding his sexuality in October 2019 after fans questioned why he and Jennifer, 30, didn't get intimate during his trip to Colombia to meet her for the first time. Which, of course, was a big question. I still question it till this day. There's no way I would have dated Jennifer or Louisa and not put my hands on her. You crazy? But then again, at the same time, I don't have low test levels, to be fair with you. So there you go. My excitement levels are obviously going to be there. This is based on Tim's sexual drive being due to low test levels, not necessarily due to him allegedly being gay. My biggest goal was just building a foundation that I thought would be able to last, because I don't want to be divorced. I've waited this long to get married. I've never been married, which is quite concerning considering how long he was with Vanessa for and how long he was with the woman before that as well. He told Entertainment Tonight, I think it's just strange that society thinks if a man says no, then he's gay. If a woman says no, it's fine. But it's like the double standard that society has. I kind of laugh about it. I do have some feminine traits. The guy thing was just kind of out of left field for me. I mean, listen, again, at the end of the day, for me personally, I'm past the whole gay thing. I just think it's low test levels, to be honest with you. Especially since Veronica said that that was the case at the last tell-all. So again, for me personally, if I'm in Tim's position, I would be looking to jump on TRT ASAP. I'd be looking to speak to doctors, see what they advise, and if TRT was the question, then that's what I'd be doing. Do you see what I'm saying? Because God did the damn. There is no way I'm going to be living in my 40s and not wanting to be intimate. That is just nasty work. I'm not gonna lie to you. But also on top of that, at the same time, um, uh, Tim should also remind himself, and this is something that maybe he's hard to come to terms with right now because of his low test levels, and the thing that in my opinion, he needs to kind of come to terms with is that sexual chemistry is a big part in a healthy relationship. If your sexual chemistry is not, no, sorry, so your sexual activity, sorry, if you're in a relationship and you're not being intimate with your partner, a few times a week, then that, in my opinion, is a big deal, because what happens is your relationship ends up turning into more of a mental relationship than it does become therefore it stays away from the physical side. But the thing is, though, the human body needs to be stimulated both physically and mentally. If you have got a partner, you are pursuing a relationship with someone, dating someone, you both need to be able to stimulate each other both physically and mentally, because that is one of the biggest reassurances that you can give to each other, to know that you are both in this relationship and you're both still attracted to each other both physically and mentally. Because here's the thing, for men, if a man is in a position where he's not physically attracted to a woman anymore, or he's not attracted to her personality or something about her, his sexual performance will dip. She could be the sexiest woman in the world, but it can dip because of right? And if Tim isn't willing to do that, to test, you know what I mean? Then really and truly, he's cutting himself short, to be honest. He's doing more harm to himself than he realizes. But nonetheless, though, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Do you think it is a matter of where you still believe Tim is gay, or do you believe that it's the fact that he's got low test levels and he should really go and get it checked out and see what the doctor said, and therefore potentially, then be recommended to go on something like TRT or something else different that can help his test levels obviously rise up, and therefore when it comes to dating women, his luck may be better. Because to be honest with you, imagine this: you're 45 years of age, or 44 years of age, okay? You've had a relationship with one woman where you helped raise two of her kids. Then you had another relationship with a woman that you was engaged to for 7 years, or however long they were engaged for in that 7 year relationship. You helped raise her kid. Nothing came of it. And then after that, we've seen you on 2 back-to-back relationships. And again, nothing's come of that. If things aren't working in your relationships for you to want to get to the goal that you want to get to in terms of Tim, it's marriage and kids, well, then that clearly means that you have to look at yourself and recognize that maybe your method, your approach is the problem and not the people that you're necessarily meeting, do you see what I'm saying? Especially if you are meeting women that are very attractive and also have a high sex drive of their own, because let's not mess about. He is going for women, of the Latin origin. Veronica was obviously that, Louisa was that, Jennifer was that, and it has been said that those women generally do have a high sex drive. So if you're going for women of that kind of caliber as well, you're gonna have to match that caliber, because for them, that physicality is a massive thing for them to feel reassured that their man wants them, as well as also the mental part as well. Okay, but that can go hand in hand for any woman and any man as well. Nonetheless, though, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. We'll talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.